Hello and welcome to the Smarter Online Safety Show. I'm your host, Jocelyn King, the queen of online safety.
Soft questions like, yeah, no one could get enough information about me out of this sort of stuff. And you're answering these questions. Like sometimes it's like, what was the first city you lived in? Where was the first suburb you lived in? Sometimes they're a little bit more esoteric in terms of where would you travel to? What's your favorite planet? Who's your favorite movie actor? Something like that. Yeah. How many of you have answered those questions? I know I was, but as a younger woman, I stopped very quickly when I worked out what they were doing. And even if they're not doing it, there are enough people watching your answers there that over time they will build up an amazing profile of you, who you are, your likes, your dislikes, where you lived, what you did, things you won't do, things you will do. Why is that important? Well, then you have to answer security questions. You've got to, what is your password? Well, your password is often something that you are very familiar with. You've pulled from your own experiences and put your password together. If you've got security questions on something, I don't see them as often now as I used to because really they've become so passe. But
They
yeah,
still exist though. I just got some last week when I was signing up for something. It was asking me to set 3 security questions. So
where did you live? Like, what was your mother's maiden name? Where did you live where did you first live? Where did you go to high school? They've got all that information. You've given it to them. Whether you realize it or not, you've given it to them because they can build up these profiles over time. And the danger with social media is that one person gets that survey sent to them and then they share it with all of their friends. So you never quite know where it starts. You never quite know who the first person was to actually put that survey up. I'd guarantee that they're fishing. They're fishing for information. It's soft fishing, but they're fishing for information. So privacy, tell people as little about you as you possibly can. People don't need to know anything. Really? What do
yeah.
people need to know about you?
So if you see that, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite car? You can think about it, and if you feel compelled to answer it, write it down on a piece of paper and walk away. Do not, because
Don't
you're
post.
literally telling 100 or 1,000 or more people downstream that information that could help
Yep.
strangers take advantage of you.
Yep. Yep. And it's sure it sounds nasty and it sounds very cold and calculating. Trust me, they're cold and calculating themselves. So maybe you will offend your friends by doing it. Maybe you won't. For a long time there, I was sort of saying to my friends, please don't do this. This is really bad. And they continued to do it. So now it's like, okay, okay, I'll
Yeah.
just not answer that.
Mhm. Mhm. No, that is really great advice. And then, so we talked about we we've talked about privacy and we've talked about protection and we're talking about social media. Talk a little bit more about social media and what advice you have for what people should do. So we've been telling them how things can be used. What should people do? And what advice do you give people to protect themselves on social media?
Just be careful what you're sharing. Okay, so let's talk about parents with young children or parents with children. It's become a real issue with parents just posting photos
Mhm.
of their kids going first day at school. Oh, the kids are at the swimming pool, and they're taking the photos on their camera and they're uploading them straight from the phone on the camera on their phone. Those that information that first of all, let's look at the photo that you're taking. Those are high quality images. They are not on our phones now. We have got really high quality images. You are posting that to someone who can download that image to their computer at a high resolution. Do you want strangers having photos of your children in their bathing clothes on their computer? Is that what you want? Because if not, don't do it. The other thing that those photos have is location information. Um,
Yes.
Now, with your phones, you can turn that off. A lot of us don't turn it off because we actually really like the location information on our photos because when we go back later and go, where the hell were we when we took this? We can look at the location information on our photos. I would recommend you go through a couple of processes. Get yourself a reasonable editing app, photo app on your phone, open the image up, size it down. You don't need to post anything more than about 600, 800 pixels wide. That's still huge, but 600 pixels,
Right.
that reduces the resolution right down as well, and strip out all of what we call the meta information, the information that is stored on that image.
Mhm.
Take out the location, take out the date, take out anything else that's in there, save that off and upload that photo. Don't take them straight out of your camera and upload them to the internet. People can read it. People can tell you where those children were. Um, I'm sure you've seen it, Jocelyn, where we have seen children targeted and taken from schools
Right.
because the parents have posted, or the auntie or the uncle or someone has
Well,
posted
and
an
they're
image.
recognizable, and then they have information. So there are times when people have even gone into school and said, "Oh, they're a family friend," and they can give all the information. The family lives here. This is their last name. This is the kid's older brother and the kid's younger
Correct.
sister, and they know so much that they sound like a family member. And then they're given something to sign. Well, they're forging a name and they're putting that in, and they've actually abducted children that way. So
Correct.
and to your point, I would even, recommend that if you're doing a picture, don't do a full on, like, the times when kids get their face painted and you take it from the side, that's a great time to do it because yeah, better time than full face on like an ID
Correct.
photo. And
Well,
unfortunately, we live in this time where we have Nudify apps. So you have even the picture of your child, a 5-year-old girl or boy in a in clothes or a swimsuit can be made nude and put into even pornographic movies. And people have to be aware that that's a real possibility. So don't give them the ammunition for that.
so I would probably go as far as to say, don't post cute photos of your kids.
Yeah.
Respect your kids' privacy.
Mhm.
And that's not because, you need to ask your children permission to do all of this. It's because you're being a responsible adult and you are protecting your child. You're doing your job in protecting your child.
Right.
Um,
So they can have a safe digital future when they become a
correct.
teenager and an adult, because they've got a whole life to live with a digital history. The longer you
Correct.
can delay that start for them, the better.
Yeah, and sure, take your photos of them, absolutely,
Yeah.
and create an album and store them off on an album. But do you really, really and truly need to be posting them to the internet for everyone to see? And if you do, make sure you are cleaning those images up so there is as little information as possible provided as you do. So
That is great
social
advice.
media,
That is great.
social media is a big one, and that comes down to yourself as well. Women, if you are going out and you are going to your Pilates class or you're going to your dance class or something, that quick selfie that you took and said, I'm on my way to my dance class. Well, that's an indication of where you are, what time it is, where you will be.
Mhm.
Your personal safety, you are putting your personal safety at risk in doing that. Um,
Mhm.
Again, I know I sound paranoid, but these are the things that we see. And we see, I've had friends say someone turned up where I was doing this. I don't know how. And I looked at their profile and I went, you told them.
Mhm.
You told them. You posted this as a public image. And that's the other thing with social media is, I'm not sure people are aware, but particularly with Facebook, you can choose the audience that you post to. I can't remember if by default, because it's been such a long time since I set up my Facebook account, and I know I go through regularly and check it, but by default, some of those posts get put out to the world. They get put out as public images, public posts. Anyone anyone with a Facebook account will be able to read what you're putting up
Right.
there.
Which at last
It's
count was 3 billion.
right.
Mhm.
So yeah, make sure you understand who your audiences are, what your profile is set up to allow access to by default,
Mhm.
and then when you're posting, just have a look at the little audience button and say, who do I want to post this to? Friends of friends is quite a common one. And look, I set my things up to do friends of friends because I do a lot of promotion. I do a lot of promotion. So I want that reach. But there are times that I post something that's personal. I'm saying I just want my friends to see this. I don't want everyone to see it. You can also set up lists. You can have lists of people that you can post things to that only those lists of people will see. Now,
That's a great
understand
point.
that,
I don't think a lot of people know that. They don't. So let's talk about that. So like if you've got, let's say, 1,000 friends, you could
yes,
have you could have a list that excludes 50 of them, or you could have a list that only includes 50 of them, or 10,
correct,
or whatever. So you don't have to just rely on texting these, in phone text, but you can literally, if you have 1,000 people you're connected to on Facebook, you could literally just share it with 10. You could create that list, and that's just your close
correct.
friends or family. If you do want to share pictures of your kids, ideally you're not even doing it on Facebook, but let's say you are, you could literally just share it with 10 family members and
Correct.
restrict it.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
really important. That's
Totally.
really important for
Um,
people to know and make conscious decisions to protect themselves and everyone they care about.
yeah, so just yeah, so make sure you know who your audience is. Make sure you know who you are posting this and who might actually get to see it. Now, understand too that sometimes when you post something, someone will be able to share it, and they won't have the same.
Mhm.
Assume they won't have the same privacy concerns that you do, or they don't have the same privacy awareness that you do, and they may
Mhm.
just let that go out. So these are the things that you've got to consider. If I put this up, what is the flow on effects of doing this? How
Mhm.
do I protect myself? How do I limit my exposure? How do I limit the ability for someone to compromise or exploit that ability? And then if it all goes wrong and it gets out there, am I going to be happy with that? Because if the answer to that last question is no, I'm not going to be happy with it, don't do it. I social media networks hate me.
Well, being in cybersecurity, I have to say that there's a very small single-digit percentage of cybersecurity professionals I know who even have social media accounts. And the ones who do keep them disconnected from everything in their life. And they only go in because they're connected to family and they want to see what people are saying and doing. And sometimes they're doing what you and I are doing, which is they're saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you posted that because here's why," and they're educating their loved ones
Right.
about what they should or shouldn't be doing. But they will not connect that to their home computer, and they never have social media apps on their phone. And those of us who do promotions, to your point, like look, when I was in cybersecurity, I did everything to have a very low profile, didn't post, tried to keep my name. I was expunging my name from the internet. Now, in order to get my
You've got
show
to put it
out
out there.
and to give people public service announcements, it's the opposite. But you and I are rare in the cybersecurity and tech realm around around proactively and intentionally, spreading how much information we're sharing, um, because the risk is so great that cybersecurity people will not touch social media if they can help it. And so that's worth
Absolutely.
knowing. And you
Yeah.
use the word paranoid, but I just want to say I think paranoid is when you hear that something happens and you freeze up and you won't do anything out of fear. But I think that to be informed, like what we love to do here is, educate, empower, and equip people so that they can
I like
make
that.
the best decisions. So it's the education, empowerment, and equipping with knowing what to do and not do and what tools to use or not use that give people back the control that everyone so desperately wants. Because let's face it, in this world we live in this AI world, in this AI cybercrime world, the one thing we've really lost is privacy, well, and control. And if we can
Mm.
get, a good portion of
A
that back,
modicum of it, even just a
well,
modicum of it, we
it's
can
so
we
worth
can
it.
do a lot with it.
Yeah, and the
So I
only
guess
price is not sharing everything broadly. If that's the only price you have to pay, because the tools aren't expensive, it's really your behaviors. And so when you think about it, the only thing you're giving up is this supposed convenience of sharing everything with everybody. If that's the only thing you have to give up, my gosh, everybody I've worked with and myself personally, having been through being a cybercrime victim, you you would give that up in a heartbeat to not have gone through what you went through.
yep. And I mean, do we have to be sharing all this stuff? Like, we never used to.
Right, right. Yes, there was a
I
day when you
guess
couldn't do it. Yes, there you go.
I guess the other thing that I want to point out there is I'm not sure people are really truly aware that every website you visit puts a little file on your computer that tracks your, first of all, your interaction with that website,
Mhm.
and then when you look at things like Google advertising and Meta advertising, they put little files on your computer that follow you from site to site to site. So people say, well, why am I getting? I went and looked at sunglasses on over on this website. Now I'm logging into Facebook and Facebook is giving me ads for sunglasses. Why is that? Well, that's because those little files are getting written to your computer.
Mhm.
And the GDPR, the European privacy law, tries to address it. I'm not going to say I actually agree with the way the GDPR has done it, but it is trying to address it. There are other laws coming in to do it, but the fact is that if they can do it, they're going to do it. This is gold to them. This is
And it's not just
their
hackers, it's marketers and sales and whatever.
well.
It's
This is
just people.
marketing. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
this is marketing.
Mhm.
Now, if you want to sort of go to that next level of privacy and maintaining that sort of what I call that hard, chunky outside, that hard, crunchy outside that's hard to get through, and people have really got to work to get through it.
Mhm.
Use a privacy first browser. Most people will use Chrome, or they might use Firefox, or they might use Edge. I would not use Edge in a pink fit. Um, if I could remove it from my computer, I would. Safari isn't too bad. The Apple products aren't too bad, but you can still have the same sorts of things with those. Go with a privacy first browser. My go-to browser has been for years Brave, which is based on the same software base as Chrome, so it's going to be very familiar to people. But it stops
It
all those
automatically
cookies
gives you
being
the
written.
security settings you need without you having to set them.
Yep, yep. It stops it all straight up. You can wind it off. It's got lists that it checks to say, oh, you're not going to get these ads popping up on your computer anymore. Like it's got ad blockers into it. It also stops what they call fingerprinting, which doesn't use cookies, but it uses behaviors that you might exhibit on different sites and starts to get that information and store that information about you. It tries to stop that as well. So use a privacy first browser. Don't just trust that you've got it set up and it's all fine. Most of these browsers are designed, particularly Edge and Chrome, are designed to get as much data and as much information about your behavior online
Mhm.
because Google and Microsoft make their money out of advertising, and you are the product. You
That's
are
right.
the product.
That is right. I'm from Silicon Valley, and that's the motto of Silicon Valley. You know, the if the uh, if the app or the website is if the service, whatever, is free, if the product is free, you're the product. And now it's not even when it's free anymore. You're still paying for it, and you're still product. You
And they're
know,
still
you're
doing it.
yeah, because your
Yeah.
data is sold on every website you go to, even if the company you're going to doesn't do it, their internet service provider or somebody downstream. If you have not disabled, don't sell my data, and don't do things like, from California settings and things like that, your data is being sold. The downstream flow of one website, I've seen the graphs that show
It's
upwards of
terrifying.
100 companies who have gotten it. And as somebody who used to work in marketing, seeing the amount of data that a marketer can get on consumers is scary. And that's not even for hackers.
Yeah, no, like I could go to the analytics software I run on my website,
Mm,
and I can find one person, and I can tell you everything they've looked at. I can tell you what they've done, how long they've spent looking at things, what they're into, and I can make inferences from that, just from that data. And that's just me. I'm not a marketer specifically, particularly, but I can get that out using very, very simple tools. Very
right.
simple tools. Now, that doesn't mean I can identify the person, the individual. Like, I wouldn't be able to say, well, that's Jocelyn, but I can say this person is interested in all of this stuff. And I've got enough information that when they come back, I
Mhm.
can start feeding them the information to drag them down the path that I need them to go.
Right. Right. Now, the positive spin on that is that I can serve up ads that you would like for products that you would like, right? That's the ad preferences language. But at the end of the day, it's that I can manipulate. I know what you're interested in, so I can also manipulate you into buying things. And so, there's good versions of that and there's nefarious versions of that, to use your great word. And don't forget this, even if you were just dealing with marketers, I'm aware of so many marketing database companies and that have been hacked, that then all that information that the marketers had to try to sell you something you didn't need is now on the dark web for sale. And so it's just this ripple effect. So this really is that, buyer beware and consumer caution, just so that because I want everybody to have the safest year they could possibly have. And so this is, my gosh, you've given so many great tips. This has been fantastic, Charly, and great advice and real practical um, education of what people can do and shouldn't do. I would
Thank
so
you.
want to thank you for this. So for people who want to follow you, learn more about you, and learn about your business, where should they go, and who do you help the most?
Okay, so I work primarily with small businesses, and I mean small businesses, and it's about, you're running your business, you don't have time to do all of your IT, you're trying to do your IT on yourself, you don't have the budget for a full-time IT person. I can step in there, and that's what I like to do. I like to step in there, take that role, stand between you and your tech to protect you from your tech, if you like, or the stress of your tech, and just keep that all running while you do what you do best, which is whatever you started your business to do. Um, to get in touch with me, as much as I said you should be careful how much you're online, I'm on basically every social media network except for TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I won't take a TikTok account. Um, and to find me, you can go to askcharlyleetham.com/connect hyphen with hyphen me. So the little minus signs between connect with me, and that'll have all of the information there. If you're interested in trying to sort out something, I offer a 30-minute free breakout session or breakthrough session for people. It's one per person. Feel free to book one and have a chat to me. I will give you as much value as I can in that 30 minutes.
That is so awesome. And everybody, you already know how much value she's given you and me and all of our listeners and viewers just by tuning in. I can't thank you enough, Charly. That is so great. And it's so great to have Australia represented with Australia's own tech wrangler, Charly Leetham. Thank you so much for your time today and all these great tips. And what a great way to kick off this edition of the Smarter Online Safety Show. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, Jocelyn. Thank you so much. I've had a ball. I've really enjoyed talking about, it's a passion.
That's great. All right, everybody, you've got your tips. You know what you need to do to stay safe out there and protect everything and everyone that matters to you. So until next time, stay safe out there. Well, so there were some amazing tips in this conversation. Got everything from Facebook and social media practices to thinking about your data and your privacy, browsers, which ones to use, which ones to avoid if you care, what you should be doing to protect yourself and your family. So, a big shout out to Charly Leetham. And I just want to say that thank you for staying here. By the time you've gotten to this part of the show, you have learned so much, which means you are super committed to staying safe and sane online and living your best life. So, thank you for staying here with us. And if any of these tips were helpful, share them and share this episode with friends, family, anybody else. It helps us reach more people, and we would really love to help as many people as possible. I can't thank you enough for all of your support, for your likes and subscribes. And until next time, stay safe out there.